Hi, my name's Misty and I'm a shelter professional studying to become a certified cat behavior consultant. When I first adopted cats a few years ago, I learned one method of introducing them, and to be honest, it didn't work as well as I'd hoped. Recently I learned a different approach. That's not to say that this is the right solution for every situation, but I found it helpful, so I wanted to share. Oftentimes people will say adopting a certain gender or age of cat might be better, give you a better chance that your cats will get along. But I read a study recently that showed that it's actually how the cats interact when they first meet each other that's a better predictor of whether or not they'll get along in the long run. So that's why in this introduction method, I really want to emphasize preventing negative interactions. Sometimes in trying to focus on building positive associations and getting the cats closer and closer to one another, we end up actually causing them stress. So rather than trying to have the goal of getting the cats closer and closer to each other, I think it's more important to focus on preventing negative interactions in the first place.
I've broken it down into 3 phases. Phase 1 is all about the safe room. When choosing a safe room, ideally it will be a place that the cat can retreat to in the future. The safe room should have everything the cat needs: litter box, feeding station, water, places to climb, places to hide, scratching post, and some toys. Make the safe room awesome by providing lots of fun enrichment activities. Visit often and give your new kitty attention, playtime, and treats. It's important that we not displace the resident cat from their preferred areas or disrupt their daily routine. After all, we want them to see the new cat as a good thing. Sometimes folks will recommend keeping your new cat in a bathroom as a safe room. A bathroom can certainly work as a safe room. The benefits of using a bathroom are that it's easy to clean and there aren't any unsafe hiding areas. The downside is that a bathroom isn't a very inviting place for the cat to retreat to in the future. If you're thinking about having a safe room that the cat can continue to use in the long run, then a bathroom might not be your best choice. The master bedroom can work if it isn't used by the resident cat. I wouldn't recommend using your bedroom for cats who need additional socialization, though. Those really shy kitties or cats who may be fearful and defensive, it's going to take time for them to trust you. Having you around all the time could be overwhelming. You can definitely get creative when it comes to setting up the safe room. I once used a tent in my living room as a safe room for a new kitty. Whatever room you choose, you'll want to block off inaccessible areas and provide the cat with safe hiding places so they can feel secure, but you can still reach them in an emergency. You don't want your cat hiding under the bed for days. For a reintroduction where both cats have established territories, take a look at your house and see which areas each cat is using and divide up the house so each cat has their own area. If you're able to, set up 2 safe rooms. Finally, we'll want to set up a buffer zone around the entrance to the safe room. You can do this by using multiple baby gates. The reason for the buffer zone is so there's no surprises and the cats won't end up face to face in a stare down. Because remember, the whole purpose of this introduction method is to prevent negative interactions. During this safe room period, it's when we want to start training the cats to respond to their names. We don't need them to turn around completely. The idea is just for them to turn their head and look at you when you say their name. If you're introducing a new cat to a resident cat, the resident cat most likely already knows their name. But it's going to be a learning process for the new kitty. You can just start by saying the cat's name and giving them a treat. After you've done this several times, try saying their name and then waiting for just a few seconds. They should look at you in anticipation of a treat. It may take some experimenting to find out your cat's preferences. I've found that squeezable churu treats are a big hit with my kitties. When both cats show relaxed body language in each of their areas, then we're ready for the next step. Phase 2 includes site swapping and what I call a peekaboo game. For site swapping, have the cats take turns in different rooms of the house. It helps if the cats are trained to go into carriers, but site swapping can also be achieved by getting one cat in a separate room while you're having them trade places. Spread out resources around the home to minimize competition. Make sure there are plenty of vertical spaces and safe hiding places in each room. Then maintain a consistent schedule. Now, if one cat seems reactive to the other cat's scent, you can do a scent exercise. Rub a clean sock on the other cat's cheeks when the cat is nice and relaxed. Then you place that sock on the ground several feet away from the reactive cat. and as they start to approach, you pick up the sock and give them a treat. Be attentive to your cat's body language. If the cat seems stressed at any point, then do something else and end the session. And next time, make sure to pick up the sock sooner. If the cat's not showing signs of stress, then in the next session, you can let the kitty approach closer until eventually they're sniffing the sock without reacting and they can get a treat. Now we're ready for the peekaboo game. With the baby gates and blankets in place, train the kitty to get used to the safe room door opening, just a little at a time. We're going to work up to leaving the door open for several minutes. If either cat tries to rush the door or leap over the gate, some things that can help include stacked baby gates, training a cat to go into a carrier, or training a cat to station on a mat, or training one of the cats to walk on a harness and leash indoors. Now, the harness would not be for pulling on the kitty, but just for having enough tension that they aren't able to lunge at the other cat. Once the cats are used to having the door open, then we can move on to the next part of the peekaboo game. Practice with one cat at a time, starting with the more assertive cat, while the other cat's occupied in a low-intensity activity. Pull the blanket back a little at a time to give them a peek through the baby gate. Then call their name and get them to turn their head towards you, away from the gate. Gradually, in the next sessions, we're going to uncover the gate further, or uncover it for longer, but only increasing one thing at a time. We're going to work up to having the gate fully uncovered for several minutes. Each cat should be able to turn towards you when you say their name. If they don't look away from the gate or they can't break eye contact, then use the blanket to block their view, just like drawing a curtain. It can help if the other cat is around a corner or if there's something or someone in the middle to partially block their view. We're looking for relaxed body language from both kitties. When the cats are able to look at each other, then turn on cue when you call their names with relaxed body language, then we're ready for the next step. If they can't look away or if their body language is tense, that means they aren't ready for that level, so we need to go back a step. It can be tempting to try to move on to the next step right away, but it's really important to go at the pace of the more reluctant cat. We don't want to rush things because we want to prevent negative interactions. The next part of the peekaboo game is to introduce play. When you start using play, it's good to use a shorter time or even increase the distance because playing is more intense. If you're doing this by yourself, stand in the middle and reach over the gate to play with one cat. Their gate should be uncovered. Have the other gate uncovered just a little bit initially so the other cat gets a glimpse of the one that's playing. Toss treats to that cat to get them to turn away from the gate. Then trade and play the peekaboo game with the other cat. If at any point the cat won't look away and go after the treats, use the blanket to block their view as before. End the session and try again later at an easier level. It can be helpful to play the peekaboo game in different parts of the house, particularly for a reintroduction where each cat has their own established territory. When the cats can see each other play and turn away with relaxed body language, we're ready for the next step. As you can see, the peekaboo game works with dogs too. Phase 3 involves supervised visits graduating to unsupervised time. Remove the gates and give the cats supervised time together, playing on opposite sides of the room. The idea is to get them to coexist in the same room, being aware of each other's presence, but not have that focus on each other. So you want to have treats at the ready or some of their favorite toys so that you can keep their focus on those things rather than on each other. Keep the sessions short at first. It's okay if the cats look at each other as long as they can look away when you say their name. The cats should only be allowed to approach each other if their body language is friendly and relaxed. Be prepared to distract them with a toy or a treat, tossing it in the opposite direction, or even use the blanket to block their view if they start staring at each other. We always want to end the session on a positive note. Quit while you're ahead, as they say. If you see signs of stress or aggression at any point, end the session and then go back a step and start at an easier level next time. At the end of the interaction, we want to return the new cat to the safe room, close the door, and replace the outer baby gate to maintain that buffer zone. Over time, we're going to progress towards longer supervised visits. Once you feel it's safe, allow the cats to spend a brief amount of time together unsupervised. Eventually, they can be unsupervised for longer. Always return the new cat to their safe room until you trust the two of them to be alone together. As before, this works with dogs too. Now, dogs can be intimidating to cats, so it's helpful to give the dog some exercise beforehand so they don't try to play with the kitty. Keep the dog focused on you. The cat should be free to approach or to get up out of reach. That's why it's important to have those vertical spaces and safe hiding places, so the cat has the choice if they want to interact. They don't ever feel trapped. Pay attention to the dog's body language too. Some dogs don't have experience around cats, and they may be stressed too. So we want to pay attention to the body language of both pets, and if you see any signs of stress, go back and try it at an easier level the next time.
It is important to remember that some cats may never be friends, but using these methods or something like this, most often we're able to help them coexist peacefully. A proper introduction or reintroduction between cats definitely takes time. How much time really depends on the individual cats. So my best advice would be, don't get too attached to a timeline. It's probably going to take weeks or months to introduce them to each other, but it's worth taking your time to do it right. Thanks for watching.